What is up, my crypto family? Let's see what's going on out here with Bitcoin. See if we're still on track for that 128, 129, maybe $130,000 Bitcoin, if not more. The cards show that we might even be able to see $145,000 Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and break down both the bullish and bearish paths. We'll start with the bullish path here first and move our way into the bearish path as we go through the video. So I didn't pre-set up my chart. Let's run through it so that you can see it from an educational standpoint as we go ahead and arrange these counts and fibs. And we'll work our way through this. So we're going to start on log here. And let's just toss some quick numbers on the chart from our zero or inception point to the top of a wave 1, to the low of a wave 2, high of wave 3, low of wave 4, and a possible high of wave 5 that's not done yet, okay? Now let's talk about why we think it's not done. When we go from 0 to the high of 1 to the low of 2, we notice that our wave 3 comes short of a 1.618 extension target. That's typically our wave 3 minimum target for an impulse wave. And when we're talking an impulse wave, it's actually made up of 3 motive waves to the upside. Those are wave 1, 3, and 5. Now, one of those is likely to be an extended wave, right? When we talk an Elliott wave. Wave 1 wasn't extended. Wave 3 wasn't extended because it didn't hit 1.618. So there is the opportunity that this wave 5 is extended, correct? So let's go ahead and talk about how this would look, right? So if we were to say the low is in and we're going up, what would we be working on? So we go from 0 to the high of a 3 to the low of a 4. And we typically target our 0.618 extension as a wave 5 target if this low is to remain, right? If we get a little bit of a slightly lower low, which we'll talk about later in the video, that would change this target a little bit, right? So let's be aware of that and also turn on our 786 in case we see some resistance there at 168K. But I think this is how Bitcoin would come up and have a slightly higher target zone, right? Which would throw a lot of people off. But let's go ahead into the lower time frames and start to break down this price action and kind of figure out how it could be bullish, okay? So let's go into a daily time frame. And what we're looking at here is the possible 1-2 stacking coming off the lows that leads us to think we're not done yet, right? So if this is wave 1 into a wave 2, and all of this, guy, is a wave 3, and we're waiting to find out, is that the low in wave 4, or is it not over yet, right? We'll figure that out later. And then wave 5 in time, if we're lucky, right? So the major thing that we should be looking at right now is that wave 4 retrace support, right? And how we do that is we take a fib retracement from the low of 2 to the high of 3. And we target this wave 4 retrace template. And we look for it to hold or not break the 0.5. After that, probability starts to kind of shift away from it being a wave 4, right? So do keep that in mind. That comes in around 75,821. And that'll be when we need to like key in, hey, maybe something's wrong here. We need to look into something else, okay? But let's go deeper into this possible wave 4 leg to see just maybe what is going on here. Okay, let's go to an 8-hour first. We'll just slowly step our way in. So when we look at this move here coming down, we can somewhat see a 3-wave nature to the downside and a 3-wave to the side. And then it looks like maybe even a 5-wave here. So you could label this as a 3-3-5 or even a 3-3-3 and a WXY, right? So this could kind of go both ways. But for right now, I think let's go with a W, an X, and a Y. And we're going to say that that typically occurs in an A leg versus a W leg, right? So we're not ruling it out. This low could be an A or it could be a W. We'll find that out later once we get this last leg of the correction. But anyhow, so if this is to be a correction from the 0 point to the Y, we would like to see its corrective motion to the upside or sideways last past the 0.382 minimum in time, right? So when we pull that from the top of 3 to the low of the first leg of the correction, excuse my last click, We note that we're still before the 382 in time, right? So this leads probability to, hey, we're just correcting, it's all good, right? So this three-wave motion that we had to the upside here is likely an A, likely an expanded B, and looking for the C wave, right? Whether this is a B or an X, we'll find out later. I would rather it be an X wave so that we don't see as deep of a retracement, right? So maybe something like a W, all this becomes an X, and we get a Y here in a triangle or a flat, and somehow still don't sweep the lows again. I think that would be the real kicker that would throw a lot of people off and send us up to finish out the cycle. So let's go ahead and talk about what we think we see going on in the lows, okay? So if we pull a retracement fib from the lows of the Y to the high of the A, we see that we came perfectly to a 105 extension of an expanded B wave. That's beautiful. Then we look at this three-wave motion to the downside with our extensions from high to low to high, and we note here on our corrective trend-based fib extensions, we come right to a 1.236 extension. These things give me confidence and conviction that we may be making a pivot here to come up in a five-wave motion to finish a C wave within an X, okay? And to meet that minimum time and correction of 382 that we talked about. So let's clear that out. That minimum time, just for your knowledge, was out until Saturday, Pacific Standard Time, around 1 in the morning, right? So we still have a long time to go in this correction. So if that is to be, that would be how Bitcoin bullishly turns us around, right? So say we get this, and then you're looking at making a triangle or a flat here within your Y leg. So you could get an A, B, C, D, and E, and then Rocket Man out of here, right? And then we could go for that wave 5. That would be one way to look at this. Another way would just be a simple expanded flat, which is the most common style of flat. So maybe you get an A, and then you get expanded B, and then you get a C wave, and then Y is over, right? However it is to be, this isn't to scale, obviously, but something along these lines is what I would look for in that Y leg before we start moving in the fifth. So there are scenarios where Bitcoin either trends sideways or resumes this correction before the bullish move, inferring that the top might not be in, right? All right, now that we've gone through all this, let's kind of back out and let's talk about the bearish side of things, okay? So it shouldn't take us too long to just take a quick peek at that, so let's get into this. Let's delete everything. And when we're talking about bearish, I would like to be on linear because of the large time frame being on a weekly. And let's just take a peek here at how the fibs acted using the same theories that we just talked about earlier. So first we'll label it just so we each have kind of somewhere to watch here on the roadmap. But in this sequence, we may have seen what would be a completed five-wave move to the upside that meets Fibonacci targets and has macro bear divergences, right? Not just macro bear divergences, but really clean good ones, also with the volume tapering off, inferring that the momentum could be dying and we could see a pullback. So let's label this, which we did, and apply our extension. So if we go from, let me make sure we get the ultimate low, 15,512 and 15,460. So if we go from 0 to 1 to the low of 2, in this scenario, you can see how that extension got much further past, right? We could see that it's an extended third wave. We blasted the doors on a 2.618, blasted the minimum 1.618, no reason to even have it there. Bitcoin ran it up to a 3 extension. That's an extended third wave, right? Beautiful. So could be, right? We have our highest oscillation on the RSI in the third wave also, helping support that theory. Then we go from 0 to 3 to a wave 4. And we note that when we use our corrective trend-based fibs, which are used to target the wave 5, we come right to a 1-to-1. Not only when we do that, do you notice that price action was able to make higher closures, actual body closures here, but the RSI was not able to. That is regular bear divergence on the RSI. This is something to really key into, and it's something that we saw back here on these peaks also. Regular bear divergence. Higher highs on price action, but not on RSI, leading to a big pullback, right? Same thing here. Possible 5-wave move up with that bear divergence. So be aware if we start to lose certain things, meaning if I lost this trend line between a wave 2 and a wave 4, and we can use a parallel channel so we can collect more data, I'm going to have to lean into this linear scale, and I'm going to have to lean into the possible 5-wave move being done. Okay? But for now, let's stay fixated on the roadmap that's ahead and the things that we talked about. And I think keep trying to stay optimistically bullish that the top is not in, right? We have some big Forex news coming up next week. You can see we have federal funds rates Wednesday, March 19th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time coming in. 99% of people right now with half a brain in their mind are saying we have 99% no change coming, right? This could be really good for the markets, and they could have a bullish reaction to this. So let's be looking out for that, and let's stay positive, and I hope you're all doing okay even during these hard times. Remember, sometimes the fear can be opportunity. So thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in, and go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I hope to hear from you guys. See you out there.